Hello, I'm Santag, and here today I'm doing the last part of my guide for individual heroes to beat chimps. Last hero, we've got Obyn Greenfoot. Obyn is very good in chimps because of his late game upgrades. He's not so good for the early game now, after his rather disturbingly heavy-handed nerfs. But later on, he gets really quite interesting upgrades. This one in particular, I'm honestly not sure why this is so strong, but it's the main hinging point of our strategy today with the ninjas. Just hopeful this ninja is strong enough to survive the first few rounds. I wouldn't normally start with a ninja. I recommend some sort of dart monkey or tack shooter combination. Just figured it would save wasting some space later on. Obyn is quite a versatile hero. He comes with a slowing ability. He comes with a anti-camo ability quite early on. It's a set of brambles. And then he comes with slowing totems that slow balloons and Moabs. So he's got a wide spread. He's also got the passive abilities. He increases the range and pierce of magic monkeys. And his base attack is quite unique. It pops lead balloons as well, so he really does have that quite universal coverage. He also pops all types of balloons to start with. Once you get brambles, there isn't a type of balloon he can't pop, which is certainly quite unique. I know he can't pop camo lead specifically, but that's something that's dealt with quite easily. All you need is a radar scanner or a shimmer or some other form of decamo. Or in this case, the ninjas can deal with the problem. Because all this strategy will entail is ninja and Obyn. Which is, yeah, it's quite something. So once ninjas get going, they're very useful. It's almost like a budget glaive ricochet with this early level ninjas. Of course, the glaive ricochet does a much better job at clearing up balloons. It's probably one of the best early game towers going, which I might use in a strategy later on. But no, these guys are something special. This guy is going to eventually be our grandmaster. For the grandmaster, you need an enormous amount of space because he needs lots of shinobis surrounding him. I've got Obyn put down. Obyn is quite strange. He doesn't deal with grouped balloons too well, and he doesn't really deal with balloons in general too well. His abilities are all based around support, really, which is probably why his main attack pops lead to start with, just to give him some more support power, and his brambles deal with camo, which isn't a problem because we have ninjas, but you know, it's there as an option. It's quite good. For if you wanted to, say, use a super monkey start strategy with getting a super monkey really early. Or if you were to use druids, of course, because they don't pop camo very early on. They need a village to pop camo. So what we're going to get next is double shot. Since we don't have to worry about leads because of Obyn being very helpful, we can just go straight for a balloon jitsu. There's no need to worry about any of the towers. These caltrops are also quite good. They got a nerf recently though, which is quite sad. They're less useful now. It wasn't too big a nerf though, it just means that Obyn's ability is less effective on them. They used to shoot twice as quickly. The trade-off though is that the caltrops scale much better with the shinobis instead, which has opened up a rather unique strategy with just shinobis. I might show off one day. So this is actually quite a boring start because we just have a ninja, and the ninja is doing all the work, and Obyn, I suppose, is doing something with that weird pink thing that he's shooting out, like a lobster or something, I don't know. This bramble pile is also quite useful with Obyn if your particular strategy doesn't deal with Moabs very well. The bramble upgrade for popping 100 balloons is available really early on. And this allows him to be a useful asset for dealing with Moabs, since it's 100 damage straight up with no delay. It also means that if you can't pop camo balloons, he can deal with the camo balloons out of certain waves for quite a while if placed on his own. His brambles, once they reach the 100 brambles, actually pop most of the camo waves before round 40. And with I don't know how much it costs, but you can get his wall of trees early enough to deal with camo leads as well. But we don't need to worry about any of that just now. I'm gonna get a village if I can find somewhere to put this thing. But it is quite large. All I need for my ninja just now is a jungle drums, and then I'll be done. Be happy. And then we're going to start with the shinobis. So it really is quite simple. The other thing we'll need to worry about later on is this guy has an issue with popping lead. It's quite notable. Even at tier 5 he is unable to pop lead, which is a bit sad. So he will need either a permanent brew or he will need to get the MIB. The aim just now is going to be getting a permanent brew with him, but if that's not affordable, you can of course grab an MIB instead. It is quite a classic combination though. Grandmaster with the perma-brew. Back before the alchemists, when they got nerfed, when they were incredibly overpowered, this was the combo as such. You could literally win the game with just these 4 towers. But fortunately someone had the brains to think, hey, that's not fair or balanced at all. There are also other crazy things like the super maelstrom used to be incredibly busted with the old alchemist buff as well. You could get to around 90 with just a maelstrom and a hero and an alchemist. I can't remember which hero. I think it was Obyn that he used because of his wall of trees, but it was silly back in the day when the game came out. So yeah, it's definitely the easiest chimp strategy I know of. Overall, you don't really have to do very much. Towers just do things, they pop lots of balloons. That's all they need to do. Oh, I think I've picked a really bad map for the ninjas. Can't seem to place them very easily in this little mouth thing. That or Obyn's totem is ruining my fun again. Ah, go away. There we go. I used to remember where even in the normal game you couldn't sell that totem, it was so annoying, you just stick it in the way. Because you used to just place it. You would literally place it anywhere. On the track or off the track. It would be somewhat close to the track, but it would get in the way. Placing towers. Not anymore though, they've fixed that problem. If I can get these. There we go. The main thing is just to make sure they're all within range of what's going to be our grandmaster later on. Then we get ourselves some shinobi tactics. So even just now with 5 shinobis, this balloon jitsu is pretty much a grandmaster ninja. It's our budget grandmaster. The shinobis provide each other with extra pierce, extra damage, and extra... I think it's just pierce and... Oh, it's not damage, sorry, rate of fire. Getting mixed up with pop thrusts, which do a very similar thing. One other thing to note, these shinobi things, if they've got lots of stacks, they're really good paired with bottom tree upgrades. Although the top tree upgrades give them more coverage, which is also quite helpful. As you'll notice, these shinobis are actually doing a pretty good job on their own. Putting our other towers to shame, but obyn is giving them an extra pierce. They're giving each other extra pierce. Not sure if it's multiplicative with obyn's buff or not, but probably test that later. Anyway, the option of getting a Sabo is here. We're going to get a Sabo later on. Another good one to get is a Master Bomber, but I don't think we'll have enough money for him. Because we're going to get Permanent Brew as well. It's our lovely Grandmaster Ninja. If balloons even get over to him, you'll notice he's already shooting really quickly. A crazy man already. But 5 shinobis should be enough to help you save up for the Grandmaster. I don't think you'll need any more. With 5 shinobis you're getting a 40% damage buff and a 40% pierce buff, which should give him 7 pierce in total, and a very quick attack rate, and the alchemist will also be throwing buffs. Hopefully it's throwing buffs at this guy. That's what I want him to do. And it does appear to be doing that job. Which will give him a quite saucy 10 damage per shot while the alch buff is active, since he shoots 5 shurikens. With all of his pierce, that's actually really quite useful. And he shoots very quickly. Certainly when I compare the balloon jitsu with the Dora, who is a very similar tower, this guy always seems to perform a lot better. Dora has a very similar spread shot style attack with homing, so the difference is that this guy shoots a lot quicker. Here comes the BFB. This isn't scary at all because I now have Wall of Trees. Wall of Trees is a bit of a trap. It seems to lose money sometimes. I'm not sure what's going on with it. I don't recommend using it unless you really need to use it. Seems a bit strange. The Engineer's cash trap also seems to have a similar issue. Because of course it doesn't make any income. And like with that, I'm fairly sure that money decreases over time if you don't pick it up as well. So it's somewhat strange. Anyway, let's see if they how they deal with round 63. Ta-da! That's so funny. And you thought round 63 was difficult? No. You've never used ninjas before. Ninja deals with your problem. Yes, and the good thing with Grandmaster is he gets a variety of buffs. He shoots more shurikens, he's got more range, he's got more attack speed, he's got more pierce. I think he's got more pierce. Not entirely convinced on that one. The attack rate is pretty crazy, especially once we get our permanent brew. And then of course you can pile on Shinobis for even more power. It basically lets the Grandmaster be whatever price you want. You could use 5 Shinobis and he'll be a little bit better, or you could use 20 and he'll cost a ton, but he'll be really strong. These guys are seriously putting in some good work though. These little Shinobis are surprisingly useful. Definitely one thing you can't forget is they exist, and they do stuff. It's not just this guy that's popping all the balloons. As for Obyn, he's not really popped very much, but I don't expect him to, and he's already got that buff. So he's now giving a total of 4 pierce to this ninja, and he's also giving it a tiny bonus to range. And that's pretty much Obyn's usefulness done. His totem isn't particularly helpful. It's alright, but it's pretty random. I wouldn't rely on it anyway. Because it's not something you can select where it places, it can often be placed where there are literally no balloons. Same problem with Wall of Fire. Unless you place it with literally no range, other than where it's the little spot on the map. It's just really random. Which is not what you want. As for his other abilities, the brambles are pretty much useless now. They, I think, pop 500 balloons as an upgrade, but it's really late on. Or is it? Yeah, brambles pop 500 balloons each. He gets that upgrade around level 80 if I remember right, which by then it's 500 balloons. It's not very much at all. It's like not even a full Moab, I don't think. Because you get the ramping and the super ceramics, so... Obyn's not very useful. The Wall of Trees, around 98, it can be quite nice having the Wall of Trees, but that's about it really. And Grandmaster, it's complete overkill just now. We really don't need him just now, but it'll make the rounds go a lot quicker. To yeeting everything. One of the odd things here, one of the more unique things, Grandmaster is one of the few tier 5s that doesn't actually struggle against super ceramics as well. Which is really nice. A lot of towers seem to have issues in the late game with super ceramics, but he just seems to ruin everything. And here come the Grandmaster's greatest weakness. Lead balloons. Oh no. What will he do? One thing that we'll notice just now is the alchemist buff gets applied to him, and then it disappears. Applies to him, and if he starts shooting things it will disappear almost instantly, because he uses it up really quickly. And the acidic mixture dip gets used up even quicker. His rate of fire is simply too high for the alchemist to keep up. It's also why if you want to use more Shinobis you need a perma-brew, because we're buffing the Grandmaster, but the alch buff is wearing off even quicker. So it becomes a bit detrimental. Since it's the only way for him to pop the lead balloons. The Namib, which costs lots of money and doesn't do very much. Other than let him pop lead, so why not get an alchemist instead? That's the thought behind it. If the map is too difficult to allow you to save up for the perma-brew for whatever reason, I suppose you could get a MIB and then just spam Shinobis a bit earlier on. it shouldn't really be a problem. The grandmaster's quite dependable. He has no overall weaknesses other than lead balloons. He scales very well. If you wanted to, there are also other methods for him. The Glue Storm is very good combined with him, because the Grandmaster's base damage is 1. The Glue Storm will double his damage straight up, which can be quite good. Super Brittle is also a very noteworthy combo for him. It adds another 5 damage, so it helps him to clear out Moabs quicker. You could go Super Brittle with a MIB. It's definitely a noteworthy option. I wouldn't recommend Cripple Moab because, well, Cripple Moab is useless. It only hits 1 balloon at a time. So definitely, if you're looking for raw damage with the Grandmaster, use the Super Brittle over the Cripple Moab. Here we are with the ZOMG, and he makes a complete joke out of it. And now we're at the 80s, so Super Ceramics are coming out now, and the Grandmaster is not really going to care. He'll kill them like they're Moabs, which is great. Whereas if you were to get something like an Archmage, it would pop all the Moabs, and then it would really have a problem with those ceramics. If we were to have an Archmage, it would probably be starting to leak balloons. Especially to these fortified BFBs. The Grandmaster's performance against fortified super ceramics is so good that you don't need shattering shells on most maps, just gets rid of them. And here come 2 ZOMGs. These are a bit stronger than the round 81. But you'll notice it's actually taking time for the Grandmaster to kill them now, which is something a bit different. Normally he's been yeeting everything straight away. The casual ramping effect that's going on in the background is making these move slightly quicker each round, between 80 and 100. It's something a surprising number of people don't know about. So after round 80 the balloons get stronger every round. And here comes the wall of ZOMGs. Grandmaster doesn't really care. He has enough Pierce to hit all of them at the same time, so they all break at the same time. Around about now is when you would be able to afford your 20th Shinobi if you were just going to spam Shinobis. The reason why I recommend holding off is that fully upgraded with 20 Shinobi buffs, you're getting 1.6 times additional attack speed, so it's 260% total, and you're getting the same in Pierce, which is good and all, but the Permanent Brew gives the attack speed bonus, and it triples his damage output. So overall you're getting a lot more out of it. It's the Shinobis, which cost... they're quite expensive, they're surprisingly deceptively expensive. All in all they're getting to about 3 grand each, if not more if you're doing the upgrades on them. You need 20 in total. And then the Power Brew also buffs the Shinobis, which again is something you don't want to underrate. These guys do actually pop a lot of balloons. Here comes round 90 for this. Obyn is going to do a magic trick where the DDTs suddenly vanish. We forget they exist. And now we reach Perma-Brew. The Grandmaster has finally reached his apex power. From here on out, the rest of the game is entirely trivial. The Perma-Brew restores the Grandmaster to what he was like in previous updates before the Alchemist nerf, which was completely busted, and he still is, thanks to Obyn's buffs. Obyn's always been a strange one. Every time he's received a nerf, he's received a buff, and the buff has been stronger than the nerf. I certainly think that they should stop throwing balance changes around without actually thinking about what they do. As for what I'm going to do, I'm going to give us 10 Shinobis total. This guy. Anything past that's going to be really excessive. To be honest, I don't actually think you need any Shinobis to beat most maps on Chimps with the Perma-Brew. It just helps you to buy it. But as you'll notice, the Grandmaster is barely having time to shoot, even the Shinobis are now popping a lot of balloons on their own. I would be able to get more of them in range. Just to make it go quicker, I'm going to put more of them down, but the 5 Shinobis that I had earlier, where I got the Perma-Brew, would have been more than enough on their own. In total, the game allows you to put 20 of these things in range for some reason. I still don't understand why. I've leveled up, I don't need to level up. Go away. That's one thing I don't get. Why doesn't it just give you level ups when you return home? I need to know I've leveled up in the middle of a Chimps match. Really? I've got 16. I don't actually know if I'll be able to get all 20 in range. I think our Perma-Brew is going to help us try, though. All in all, though, this guy's definitely all in. All of your money will be spent on him if you want to go all out on the Shinobis. Obyn has now reached max level. Very nice. I think to get these last couple in range, I'm going to have to use a village. Village the village. Hopefully these reach. And I can't afford any more. There we go, 18. Watch what happens when the BAD enters his range. Now you see BAD, and now BAD is dying. Oh no. Where did all the balloons go? So yeah, that's the Grandmaster. He's one of the few towers I'd actually say you might get pretty far in free play in Chimps with. He certainly won't have any difficulties too early on. With the full 20 Shinobis, he should be able to get, I want to say 150, but it's probably pushing it because of the new free play ramping. But this guy's just nuts. I mean, look at all these BFBs, they're just going to vanish. He's not being challenged just now at all. BAD didn't get a quarter of the way around the track. This guy's just nuts. But anyway, that's all for today. I hope you've enjoyed. As for overall strategies, I would say if you're really just wanting something that's easy, to finish your chimps maps with, to get your achievement. Definitely recommend this guy. You won't have any difficulties beating chimps maps. You need to get 15 for the achievement. Gives you the 4 monkey knowledge points. And you should be able to beat 16 maps at least with this. I've not tested any of the harder ones with him, but you can beat all of the beginner maps, along with Cracked and Streambed. You'll probably be able to beat some other maps if you can get them started as well. Thanks for watching. See you next time.